So, thought I'd do a quick breakdown of how I actually constructed this. This is my cordless SDS that I have another video for. I'll put a link to that in the description, but if you want to see that one, but I'm basically going to do a demo and a breakdown in this video. I just didn't like that video too much, so well, I'll do it better, and I'll show how I did this guy too, which is my actual, this is one I take for work because they actually have air there, so I gotta, and I just prefer the air hammer style needle scaler versus the inline style one. So come back to that in a bit. I'll do a demo after I break this down and then show you this one. So it's a 1-inch fitting. Don't ask me what they're called. I can't remember. This is a 1-inch to 3/4. That's a 1-inch to a 1/2 inch to get that to fit. And then there's a SDS stopper drill bit. It's like a drill bit with a stopper plate on it. So I chopped off the drill bit, and it's just basically like an SDS hammer, like that. I'm sure you could probably get an SDS hammer, but that's all that was in the store at the time. So I went, oh yeah, that'll work. Grabbed it. That's what I've got. So turn this around so I can take it apart and show you what's in there. What I just described. That is too close. Maybe I'll just do that. Hello.
Hello.
I'm doing a YouTube video. I'll be right with you.
Yeah. We're gonna go in the next one.
Oh, wow, put that a little too tight. Knipex Cobras, if you don't know, or you haven't seen one of these, or if you live under a rock, they're from Germany. They have the Quickset Mechanismos. Pretty legit. So if you're looking for an excuse to buy a fancy tool, it's a good one to have in your toolbox. So yeah, they did have a nut in there to take up the slack between these two fittings, so there wasn't too much play. This is the stop bit, so yeah, there is the drill bit here, and I just chopped that off, made it flush. Right there, and the perforated plate and the scaler. That's pretty much all I took from the needle scaler. So I don't know if you could maybe get these parts on their own, maybe. Probably be a cheaper route. I just ended up buying a needle scaler, cheap one from Princess Auto there. So whatever it is you want to do. There we go. So that's what's in there. Now, I also made a similar attachment for my pneumatic hammer here. And I had a quick change system, and I'll show you that as well while we're here. So for that, I have these components. So the only thing that'll stick around for that is this fitting and this perforated plate and needles. Although you could probably just get another one of these and another set of needles if you wanted two separate attachments, whatever you want to do. I just had one set and I cheaped out for the moment. So I'm not sure if it was actually going to work. So, and this is same fittings, same exact fittings. I might weld that as well, and the other one is welded just to keep this dimension fixed. And then this is the hammer bit, as pneumatic hammer bit. Just happens to be the right size, all that. Or no, I did have to grind that down, so it depends on the size you get to make sure it matches up. The size of the head is the right width for that. You don't want it too big because it won't fit. You don't want it too small because the needles will actually slip past it and fall in there, in past it. So make sure you get the sizing. Make sure you get the sizing right. Okay. And then I did end up, for this to fit, I did have to grind this out a little bit to make that fit through there. So heads up on that if you don't have a die grinder. You can probably just get a carbide burr bit if you don't want to buy a die grinder and stick it in a power drill. That works too in a pinch. It's obviously not as effective, but for some light duty, it does work. Yeah, the only thing with these quick set pliers that you gotta watch, there are the standard ones. These quick set ones, they're fancy though, because you open it like that and you can slide it along. But you have to make sure, see that second click? You gotta make sure it does that second click, because it didn't do that. I was working this exact fitting actually, and it didn't. I had my hand right there, and as you can see, what happened was this disengaged and went like that, and it took a real good chunk out of my hand. I made a couple noises. It was disturbing. Did I actually tighten that while I was telling stories? I did tighten it. Good. Okay. So yeah, the reason I got two different fittings is because yes, I did fix that in place, and with this, the way it's set up, it did have to be closer. So that was the reason why I got two different bodies. So, also I did include a gasket just so that it doesn't whack. Well, I don't know if it actually does, but it just is a bit of a buffer between this and the actual quick change adapter on here. So, yeah, the reason I wanted a quick change like this is, well, because it's quick change. And they actually don't, to my knowledge, actually make a quick change like this. This apparently doesn't exist. So I made it exist. But in their defense, it is a lot more compact. Like with the, like this usually is a threaded, and it threads onto there where the quick change goes. And so it's you know, obviously a little shorter, a little bit lighter weight, but that's the only disadvantage. I'd say that's outweighed by how quickly it swaps out the other bits. So the other one, if you wanted to switch this quick change to, you know, the needle scaler attachment that's out there, you'd either have to go with get another needle scaler, which you could do, and do away with all this. I just like having, I don't care for the inline needle scalers, I like having a gun handle like this. It's just, I just prefer it, but do what you want. And then the other thing is, yeah, so if you wanted to switch to the threaded style that's out there, if you ended up getting an attachment, most of the designs that I've seen, you have to, you know, this normally has set screws on it. I don't do that, obviously, because I'm mean to my tools, and I just tighten it on there straight up with pliers or my Cobras or a pipe wrench. Although, and then, anyway, whatever. You get the picture. Then you have to unthread this, take the set screws out, unthread it, and then thread that one on, put the set screws, and that just takes forever. This is just a lot quicker. So I'd say that advantage makes it better. Matter of opinion, maybe. Yeah. You just do that with the other systems. So just makes it so it's one tool, you know, and this having just that is a little more compact than having another needle scaler in your toolbox, and it's a lot quicker. So I did break this down. I did show you what was in there. I showed you what was in the other one. So I'll give a quick demo. Yes, and where this isn't normally how I fit these, but these are all the fittings I had here. And it's a different fitting that I have on my compressor versus the compressor at work. So just don't give me any flack. All right. Maybe I'll just do a demo on my foot locker. It's pretty rusted. This anvil as well. Not anvil, I-beam. Yeah. Okay. I have a few rusty items. Some good candidates for this. If I've learned anything from the last demo video I did on the needle scaler, you don't want the camera mounted on where you're running your scaler. You would think that'd be common sense, but it was news to me. We'll just do this area here. Before I started recording, but whatever. What's done is done. Just bear with me. I kind of do I don't normally switch things out like this, so for the sake of the demo, I'll just show you that this thing works. And obviously, it's a lot more powerful and much more. This is just a little cheap 5-gallon compressor, so. Still. Yeah, it's a bit underpowered for that. Definitely have to get something a little more powerful to run this. Right. Now, I'll quickly change it back to the cordless SDS, just so I can say I gave you a quick demo. Oh, come on now. Do like that. This is why it would be good to just have a secondary one, so that you don't have to do this big switch out. But I guess it gave me a chance to show how I put all this together. Oh shit, now I'm all messed up. Okay, this, I need this, I need that. This, these, inside, inside. tell some jokes. Just kidding. Can't think of any jokes. But yeah, why don't blind people bungee jump? It scares the fuck out of the dogs. Okay. There we go. Got her switched up. Some lighting. Just to show you what's going on here. You know what, the cordless is actually more powerful than that pneumatic is with that compressor. But when you got a better compressor, it does do a lot better job. I'm not really doing it justice with that compressor. Is that visible? Sort of. And I'll put a description of where I got this and everything in the description.